stream my flame.
Don't worry about it too much. Okay. I think we're rocking.
What's that say?
Oh, I don't know. It's another thing that's screwing around with me about my damn printer. How about no thanks? Get out of here. Get out of here. How we looking, guys? How we looking? I think we worked the bugs out of this thing last time, so we'll just take this now. Make this a little bit bigger. There you go. And I think we're rocking.
Can anybody hear me?
Chuck has got a delay going on here or something. We got the green light.
Come on, Warriors.
Come on, Warrior. Come here, buddy. Come here, buddy. Come here, buddy. Come up here and say hello. Come here, everybody's going to start bitching if you don't get up here. Get up here. Oh, she's a big one.
He has been killing us today. He's bored because it's been raining all day long.
He's a fair weather frog man.
I went in and tried to take a nap, and he came and sat right on my head. He wanted everybody up.
Okay, jump down there, buddy.
Get down there,
buddy. Got you rattling the cage. Good. Okay, all right. So yes, it's been raining, and all those geese and ducks are up in New York and Pennsylvania. They are hauling mail right straight down here. It's a great time. Coda, knock it off, buddy. So you stroll. Oh my God.
What's that mean?
No horse at the table. She's working fine. It sounds good. So you stroll. There's these things that I don't have any idea what the hell they mean.
All my girls are Janice, Robin, Karen. All the girls are on here.
The bosun from Japan. I think he's up early.
Hey, bosun. Okay,
Oh
you
God.
two.
Okay. Yeah, we got a lot of rain, and we needed a lot of rain. We got a couple inches today, so we could use a few more, but that's okay because the chufa is disappearing quickly. So come on, guys, knock it off. All right, what do you got? Go ahead.
Yesterday, I was going into town, and we have a drop box at the end of our driveway by the gates, and there were huge ass boxes, cardboard boxes, and I got out of the car and tried to lift them, and I couldn't. So I called Dawn. Somebody on here is sending Dawn some ammo, so I said, I think your ammo's here. It's just so heavy I can't lift it. Well, it wasn't ammo. It was from herding chickens. And, okay, you two, stop.
Hey. Come on, guys, knock it off, would you? Here, go fetch.
So I showed you guys the gift that he sent us before. It was all the condiment stuff like you see on a bar, with all the oranges and lemons and limes and onions and all that stuff in it. Well, yesterday he sent me a shit ton of beautiful, beautiful glassware, all shapes and sizes, little cordials, the big ones. I'm drinking out of this one. So we had to clean out our cabinets to make room for all of those. And my favorite are these beautiful margarita glasses. When we used to go down to Mexico when we lived in San Diego, I love these because they're so heavy. You can see the bubbles that they're blown in. And he sent, it's so heavy I can barely lift it. I've got 2 of these things. This one is, I can't see. I don't know if this is sugar or salt, but he sent 2 huge things. One is sugar, one is salt for the margaritas. So he sent me 2
martinis and margaritas. Sugar for the martinis.
No sugar even for margaritas if it's like mango margaritas or something like that. If it's the lime margaritas,
I
then
just
it's
read
salt. Oh, you did? Yeah. But anyway, so I'm so excited. We're going to have a lot of people in here during December, so I'm going to be able to set those things out and people can just make their drinks and get whatever they want. So what a thoughtful gift. Thank you very much. I love it. But today is a huge day for my family in Tennessee. You guys know I call him Bassett. I always have, but my nephews, Gavin and Garrett, this is their engagement picture, Bethany and Garrett Williams. That's my nephews. and they finally did the deed today, and there they are. He's an old married man. I have never, ever wanted to go to a wedding so bad in my life, but I just got back from down there, and I just couldn't make it back this time. But they rented a big, beautiful cabin in the Smoky Mountains right in the middle of a big apple orchard, and it was a huge thing for my family and for me too. I'm just so proud of them. We love Bethany to death, and so Debbie got my mom from the nursing home, and my mother's been very confused, but she was really looking forward to the wedding, so my mom got to be there with all the family and friends. So it's a good day. Congratulations, guys. I know after everybody clears out, you guys are going to be watching this, so everybody can wish Bethany and Garrett all the luck in the world.
Well, they get married in December for? Cold? Doesn't look like it.
No, it's actually like in the 60s, in the upper 60s in Tennessee today. I can't believe it. It's cold as shit here, but it is it's beautiful in Tennessee, so it worked out perfect to have an outdoor wedding. Who would have thought? But a beautiful cabin for the reception, so yay.
We got Lamise from the Czech Republic.
I gotta put my glasses on.
I hope I said that right. Lamise.
Lamise.
And somebody, I don't host the Extreme Seal Experience stuff anymore. I got rid of everything and we moved up here. So now I just take dudes hunting. That's it.
And that's enough.
That's enough.
So we actually got a call today. I took the phone call from a Republican delegate here on the Eastern Shore, and he is a wounded Iraq, Afghanistan vet himself, but he has several wounded guys right here on the Eastern Shore up in the Kent Island area. So he contacted me and wanted to know what we had going on in December. He had some guys he'd like to bring up, and I told him that Don would absolutely be back in touch with him, but we are pretty much booked up for December. We're going to have lots of people coming down. And Terry, we got your email earlier, and Don will call you tomorrow. I absolutely would like for you to come down and film these hunts, but Don's just working out all the details, so he'll call you tomorrow. I didn't know what to write you back. So we have found that in all the hoopla of everything, we really need a videographer or a photographer. When we just have one or two guys down here, we make out pretty good. But when there's a bunch, Don gets so excited and so involved in that blind, sometimes he just forgets to even turn the damn camera on. And for me, free breakfast, that's right, Greg. I don't even think Greg likes to hunt anymore. I think he just likes to be here for the free breakfast. I think that's why he comes.
Hanging out with me.
No, I don't think he does.
Yes,
I think he likes me more than he likes you. But
yeah, he does. He likes girl talk, that's for sure.
But
he
we haven't.
His feelings.
I haven't even stepped outside today. I mean, it has rained all day long. Don is tickled to death. It might have slacked up for 5 minutes here or there, but I think his impoundments are pretty much filled up. So this is what he's been waiting on. And yesterday morning, I got up before dawn, and when I went out, every square inch of this place was just covered in geese. And it's a damn shame that this is the year that our limits of geese have dwindled, because, boy, we could sure be shooting them out of the sky, couldn't we?
I got it covered, though.
It is so loud. It's so loud.
It covered. Everybody's gonna get sick of goose and duck hunting around here that come down.
Mad Dog's on here. Hey, Jimbo.
Yep. I'm photographer. Terry's got all that shit covered. He's got all the drones and stuff. So,
he does.
What do you? If you're done with your useless nonsense, let me give something people can sink their teeth into.
Oh boy, I'm sure it's so important.
I got an email today, or a text from a guy that frequently bounces phonies off of me, and he sent me some links to a newspaper in New York about the owner of a nursing home named Woody Shoemaker, and it had him listed down as a Vietnam vet, Navy SEAL, decorated Vietnam vet, Navy SEAL, and that is the #1 those older guys from that era crave that respect a whole lot more than these younger dudes do. And I've always said that's kind of the number one claim. I was a Navy SEAL in Vietnam. Yeah, okay, there was only like 270 of those dudes that ever stepped foot in country. And I quickly had a look on there, and that shit wasn't happening. But I take another look, and then I look because I can see your era. When you say Vietnam, I can look down any of the shoemakers that are in there and see if their era, their class is in that thing. And then I start alleviating the new guys and the really old World War II guys and get it right down. And I got stuck on that, and I was like, Woody. There is no Woody. There's no Woody. And then I went, Elwood Reed Shoemaker. And he is legit. So Saved by the Bell again. Just that check once, check twice, check 3 times.
And he runs a nursing home up there?
He's running some like a bunch of them. He's done pretty doggone well for himself, as far as I could see. But he goes by Woody, and you got to be careful, man. So that's all it had, is just that name, and to put 2 and 2 together. And so I saved my ass on that one. If anybody's been following the Admiral down there, the Admiral in Georgia has now taken to saying that because he collects military memorabilia and sells it, that he often wears it just to see how that shit all works out. So
yeah,
that's his new thing. Outside of he's gone completely off the deep end from apologizing to saying that it's all classified now. Since none of that has worked, he's taken to saying, well, I'm selling this shit, so I need to know how it all looks and works. You know,
and his girlfriend still believes him. So
we don't know what's going on down there.
Potenza. I might be getting it wrong. I'm happy this is your first day here and first time for the live stream. We're happy to have you. Good for you.
Now, what is Potenza? Do you think that's a woman or a guy?
I think that's Italian.
Oh, I think so too. Something along those lines. But we're trying to
probably a guy. Most women don't go by their last names.
Maybe it's a first name.
Oh, I don't know.
I think it's first name.
I think it's a last name.
Okay, well, we're about to find out here. So
we used to have a really good friend on our ship, and his name was Picotti. Remember him?
Oh yeah.
Sort of reminded me of that name.
Canine lover. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that girlfriend. I don't know if that girlfriend is involved or not. Honest to God, because I am military and I've been in this military life all my life, I sort of know the lingo and I sort of know all of that stuff. But if you're just a civilian and you don't know anything about the military, I believe she believes him. I believe, after all of that stuff, I think he got her off to the side and he said, look, it was all top secret. When I worked for the CIA, there is no record. So, no, I'm not on the list. No, I'm not. Only the president did this and did that. And I believe she freaking believes him. I don't really think she's in on it.
Sure she does. It's a hard pill to swallow that this could all be fake. Years of you doing that shit. It's all fake. So,
the Japanese word for performance. Tire business, Bridgestone. I'm happy to have you on here, honey. That's good.
That's Greg. Well, yeah, this keto thing is going like nowhere. I'm not happy with that shit. I ate a piece of bread the other day that just... It's tough stuff.
The keto thing?
You bought some honey.
He's doing fine. He's absolutely doing fine.
Fucking shakes and everything else.
No, I made hamburgers last night. I got some keto hamburger buns. He ate that. It was good. Tonight I made crab cakes, fried in butter. We're allowed to have that. And I made scallops. And he has been snacking and eating on that. I think you're doing pretty good.
Yeah, it's okay. I'll get by. If she's doing it, I guess I have no choice. But
I think that the alcohol intake probably has something to do with him. Greg Scott, you did not give up. Shit. Greg was doing it with us. We were all three going to do it. You better get back on that shit, Scott.
There you go. No, I don't think the Admiral's going to jail anytime too soon. It was enough, and I've said this today. I take a great deal of pride in this, that when the Stolen Valor law got overturned for that Alvarez claiming in California he had a Medal of Honor, they overturned that as free speech. And so when the law was rewritten and they were taking it back to the Supreme Court, I think it was Justice Scalia that said, why do you guys need a Stolen Valor law anyhow? You seem to be doing a good enough job of trying them in the court of public opinion already. And that's what he meant, these, going after him on the internet like that, so I don't know.
Goldsmith, I really don't even know why you would attempt to correct anybody on the internet when they're going off on Gallagher and bad-mouthing him and what the president did. They have...
You send some of that shit to me.
But they have their minds pretty much made up, and people just don't get it. Actually, people have been asking Don his opinion and sort of wanted a detail thing, and Don was actually going to work on that today. He'll probably do it tomorrow. Going to address it and put it live because he's pissed off about all of the naysayers and all of that stuff. People just don't understand what the boys have been trained for and what they're over there doing, and Don's going to sort of set the record straight, I think, in the next couple of days. But for you, I probably wouldn't waste my time. They're just not going to get it.
Some guy emailed me yesterday wanting to know what I thought of the situation with Eddie, and I don't fall into those traps. So I wrote him back and I said, what situation? And he wrote back and he explained what he was looking for, and I didn't light him up, but I told him, and of course he didn't like it. He was hoping that I was just going to side with him, and he got into lecturing me about professionalism, following orders, and rules of engagement, all this shit he wrote back. And then I lit him up. And he was really on about that posing with that corpse. I wrote him back and he didn't like it. And I said, all militaries throughout history have posed with bodies of soldiers they've killed. Not that, what do you want to call it? Not that new of a phenomenon. Guys are proud of that, like they are a deer. Don't get me, is it wrong? Yep, of course. But it ain't that flippin' big of a deal sometimes. So that really enraged him. So there's a lot of misconceptions out there. He gave me the lecture on leadership and things like that, and I lit him back up because of everything, the leadership and the professionalism, all that. I lit him back up saying, the guy was found innocent of all those charges, and you lecture that about professionalism and leadership and all that stuff. It just seems that you're still disgruntled by the way that thing came out. You're looking to start a fight. So if you can't accept what happened with him, there's a party in the government that's right for you that bothers Trump all the time, won't let him get anything done. They disagree with everything he does. Anyhow, won't let him get a damn thing done. But I think it was a great message to send to the troops out there. And then that Thanksgiving in Afghanistan, Trump gives a shit. He's not going to let anybody get the screw job like he's getting. So I'll get off of that thing. That's good. Warn me up. You send me those where that's going on Facebook. Because, I go on and on about old Eddie Gallagher. 8 deployments. That's 4 years in combat. 4 years over there. 4 years away from his family.
And that's not, it's not just 4 years. That is 4 years deployed and fighting. But all the workups and all of that shit that you have to do before you deploy, it has been 8 years of steady gone.
Easy. So, yeah.
I was very happy to see Trump in Afghanistan. I don't think that had been announced. I don't think that that was advertised. I don't think it was for publicity. I think that he went over there, and just some of the candid shots that were put up of him belly laughing at the table with the war fighters, I just absolutely loved that. Good on him. Thought that was wonderful.
Well, you say that pretty well, Canine Lover, and that's true. And that's what he got on. We're supposed to be above this. We are professionals. We have to show the world that we're professional soldiers and we can follow the rules. And I've said on here, it was taught to us day one in Buds, you will never win a firefight throwing a rule book at somebody. And they're terrorists. They don't even classify them. Let me tell you this. Everybody needs reminded since kind of day one of these wars taking place. They're not classified as enemy combatants. They're not. They don't have they're terrorists. That's how they're classified. Even the Japanese and Germans in World War II and Vietnamese were classified as enemy combatants. These guys are classified as terrorists, plain and simple. So I'm not condoning that, but when you do that so long and you're shot at so much for so many years, and that's how you want to send that boy out. If you think he should go to prison for the rest of his life for any of that, and it didn't work out, so I'm just going to get aggravated. Donko, I love him, man. He's not guilty. So. Yeah, the guy got on that. Here I go again. He said, but he did stab him. He was found not guilty of murder because the medic said he did it, but he did stab him in the neck. What court-martial were you listening to? Huh? And stabbed that guy? There was nothing. So it's just, just weird stuff. I feel like I need to do something. We're trying to get Eddie down here and Tim in January sometime. Come on down here, take some of that stress off, but I don't like it. Let me see those, where they're going off on this stuff about. People are really confused, so. Yeah,
Goldsmith, I think that was sort of Don's take on it. Everybody's been wanting to know, and whenever you get on the internet and you'll see support, and then there'll be 2 or 3 thrown in there where they just think he should have been hauled away in shackles, and so that's the reason Don's decided to address it, and I do think that it's a good idea for him to do it. There's been a couple other SEALs that have spoke up, not really elaborated on it, but I think Don is pretty respected, and I think that it'll do a lot of good. And I don't know, from somebody that stood on the street corner with a mother that had their son burned alive and hung off of a bridge, I don't really think that the rules of engagement, I think we're the only ones that really have the rules of engagement. I don't understand the whole thing. It's war. It's war.
North Koreans and Chinese don't have that shit. You better be careful who we're so nice to. I tell you that to come out. I can't believe you guys get me on this shit. We had that book from that Marine down here. He was the mortuary affairs Marine. He was the first 2 veterans we had down here. And as an E6, he was in charge in Iraq. And they would pick up every piece of your body, every piece of it, off the battlefield, put it in plastic bags. And he said the first practice he ended over there was them strapping dead Marines to the hood of Humvees and driving them back to the base through Baghdad. He said, we are not showing any of them fuckers a trophy that you've just got. And it's the same thing kind of here. It's ridiculous that they've done this and showed all those guys how weak we are by worrying about that, because they weren't worried about it. It's reminiscent to me of the USS Indianapolis. It's the only other, this isn't the first time this shit has happened. The captain of the Indianapolis was court-martialed because his father was also an admiral, and he screwed a subordinate who was now senior to that captain. It was just payback time. And to add insult to injury for a captain that had lost so much, they fly the Japanese sub-commander, the Japanese captain of the submarine that sunk him, to Washington to testify at his court-martial. And unfortunately for them, the Japanese sub-captain kind of exonerated that captain a good bit. He said there was nothing. It was all about him not zigzagging, which was a World War II tactic to get away from submarines. And he said it didn't matter. I had him. He wasn't going anywhere. So, yeah, and he ultimately killed himself years later. So.
Robin wants to know what we want for Christmas. A cruise would be nice to the Caribbean somewhere. We don't want nothing for Christmas. I tell you what I want. I want to see you gals up here in March or April. That's what I'd like to have for Christmas. I'd like for my elegant echoes to come and see me. That'd be a perfect present for me.
I asked that. That's where some of that shit went with Eddie. I asked Tim Palator, could he have attempted an external juggler stick? Is that where these guys pulled that out of their ass? And an EJ is inserting an IV right in your neck. And I used to do it all the time. And you needed one real quick and you're poking around on someone's... That's a good vein that you can hit really easy and you can get that IV started. And he said, no, that didn't happen. But the old trach thing and everything else, it was embellishment, exaggerations, and I'm getting all heated. Never mind. So what? So fucking what? But somebody asked about the rules of engagement. They are a lot different over there. What you can do, what you can do to them, types of bullets that are shot. Civilians that are in that group, you're with them. You are a terrorist too. That's all of them. It's a lot more complicated than that, but they're it's ridiculous to have done that with that boy. So. Okay. Top 3 tips for making it through buds. You better learn how to swim, and you just don't. I'll give you the top tip for getting through buds is that you will get some sleep sooner or later. You will get warm, and that's it. This will end. All of it will end, and that's all. I never had a problem with that. I knew I was getting out of that cold water sooner or later. I mean, they couldn't keep us in there till we're dead, and I would get sleep, and buds would end, and a lot of people couldn't see that, man. So that's my top one of all 3 tips for getting through buds.
Hello to you.
Just don't care too much. Come on up here, big boy. Oh, come on up here.
They're also Auntie from B&N.
Oh, he's a good boy.
Canine Lover, you must have got on here late. Warrior already jumped up here and made his appearance, but now he's asleep and snoring, so we'll see if we can get him up here before we're through.
Yeah, it's a big deal about feeling covered out there, that your ass is covered. It sucks that the Commander-in-Chief, that's Trump, that's his military, had to step in for that. The Navy couldn't do it. It sends a terrible message to the troops. I couldn't imagine being over there carrying a gun. Wonder what the fuck. I mean, how detrimental to that is going on. And especially the leadership.
And to the SEAL team.
Our own admiral would not let that go. Would not let it go, would not let it go, would not let it go. How do you think that looks to every other SEAL that's out there carrying a gun? And everyone else, that he would not let that go. And I'll tell you one thing. I don't know what Trump's going to do.
I hope he fires that son of a bitch.
You could say it just a little more.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you should be. So stop. He should. How the Commander-in-Chief deals with an admiral in charge of his most premier go-to guys to get shit done in this country, that bucks him. I've seen The Apprentice.
Well, I'm just glad that Don's out. I'm glad my son's out. I'm glad Slade's out. I'm just thankful that a lot of boys near and dear to me are out, because I am not a SEAL and I've never carried a gun. But everybody I love has carried a gun, and I would hate to think that they were over there and that my son or my husband or any of the other boys would hesitate because they're afraid they're going to get in trouble. And I just think that that whole thing sent a message that you are going to get in trouble. And I don't know, I just hate it. I just hate it. I just think it's wrong.
Okay. I wanted to thank Captain Mike for sending the ammo down here. I got it, bro. Thanks. Nice stuff. And he was all kinds of confused on what we do down here. It doesn't matter the type of ammo that really gets sent for geese and waterfowl, because I specifically pick the type of ammunition for each scenario we're running out here. It does not need to be top shelf shit by any means. I get these things in real close. I rarely shoot at birds that aren't decoying. I like tricking them. I've had a lot of people want to punch me in the face over that sometimes when a flight of geese come right over the top of the blind, but they're not. They ain't been tricked. And that's really what I like. Them cupped up, their wings are set, and they're coming into the decoys. I've done that. And we don't need to do that all the time. Damn, anyhow. We get enough birds. We don't have to do that. So you can pretty much throw rocks at them when they're decoying and you can knock them down. So I appreciate the ammo that was confused Captain Mike a little bit, and so we're set here.
Mad Dog says he's going to bring a bushel of oysters the next time well, why in the hell? I live on the eastern shore. Where are you going to get any oysters that's any better than what I got?
Right out the back door.
Yeah. Thank you, but we can get our own oysters. Thank you very much.
Can't get any of that Alaskan crab down here, so why don't you just unload on some of that. All right. Yeah, it is getting bad. You know, this is, get back on it again where they're wanting to bring the draft back. Do you know why they want to bring the draft back? Because they have to. This is how bad it's getting. It's just weird. You know, my God, some of the guys on here in my era, those nights in the Philippines don't go on anymore, man. Not happening around there. Breathalyzers on the ships, they have just made it, and unhappy. And this little military political correctness and parades and celebrations. It's fucking weird, man. You know, kind of tough being a man in today's military sometimes, and then just keep on going. Because when those Chinese run out of resources and they need to find some, yeah, I'm going to be safe up here. You guys in California, it's all over for you, man. They're going to cut all your heads off, man. It's going to take them a while to get across the country over here. All we have to do is worry about the Albanians invading the East Coast. I mean, that, or the Nova Scotians or some shit. We don't have to worry about that. You guys got to deal with all those Chinese and Koreans and all that stuff.
Jim, I think he was kidding about the Alaskan king crab legs. When we went to Tennessee to stay for a couple of months a few years ago, it was around the holidays. It was around Christmas, and so Don wanted to spring for lobster and king crab legs for everybody. So it was expensive, and we ordered it, and it was delivered right there, and it wasn't hardly nothing. I mean, it was not enough to fill everybody up, so that shit's pretty pricey. But you got deep pockets. You can afford it.
Trucker Dane's company got the Guadalcanal cruise book in '87. Were they calling that a Marg then? Is it a Marg cruise? We're talking the same one where we met at Diego Garcia and went into the Persian Gulf with it, and that was '87. So, yeah, that was a pretty cool cruise. Pretty cool cruise. All right, what else we got?
I don't know.
Man, you guys get my shit screaming over some of that stuff, man. I got a real soft spot for the military. I hate seeing those guys treated like that.
I know one thing. We are going to clean up this freaking nasty office.
There are guns everywhere.
You ought to see. This is his side.
Goose calls,
It is awful. My side is good to go. Same thing in the bedroom. My side's good.
Maybe they want to hear some calling.
Hey, Steph.
Steph. Yep.
Yeah, the seafood boils. I've never had a real seafood boil where they dig the hole down in the sand and they put the seaweed and layer all of that stuff. But I sure would like to do that one time.
I think it's where you just throw a bunch of shit in a pot with corn and potatoes. And
yeah, they do. But the real one, the original one, is in a hole in the ground, and most people can't do that, so they do it in a pot now.
Why would they call it a boil?
Because you. Oh my God!
See, I'm just asking.
Oh my God!
I've got to
get a damn break from you. You're freaking killing me.
Shit out around here.
We have been married too long and too much freaking togetherness. I need a break. Robin, you want to know what I want for Christmas? Get me the hell out of here for a day or two. I need to go.
Your guns are down by the corn feeder. I went deer hunting last night. It's kind of bad around here. We're having a rough year around here, rain and everything else, and blue tongue and hemorrhagic fever. I didn't see a damn deer last night. I had the whole field covered and nothing, and nobody else is getting them. There was constant shooting last night all around, but these necks, especially this one. So it'll all come back here real quick,
But Caleb, everybody on here knows Caleb. Caleb's got 2 deer in a row, one an 8-pointer and one a 7-pointer, so he did good. Bring us some of that meat down here.
And then his dad yelled at him.
For what?
Quit shooting them fucking deer. Quit shooting those horns. You're horn hunting. I want those does taken out. There's does all over there, and he's hunting for horns. He wants those big racks. I think it was an 8 and a 9-point. And so me and Greg are going out because I told him, yes, I would love to help you meat hunt. And,
I could not shoot a deer personally. I couldn't do it. I don't care if that anybody does it, and if you bring it to me, I will cook it and enjoy it. But I will say, in Chesapeake, Don took me deer hunting a few times on a friend of ours that had crop damage permits. And, of course, we would go out there early and wait, and even the small little Bambi deers, sometimes they do the most damage. They're just in there trampling all those crops down and eating. And I don't know if that was the way that I had to make my mortgage payment and pay my electric bill and put food on the table for my family. I think I could pull a trigger probably pretty quick and get them to let those crops grow. It's hard for these farmers. I couldn't do it, but it needs done.
I see the Virginia Senate. See, there's where a couple of people in Virginia are going to start hating life. I forget who that shooter was. There was a mass shooter. Was it the guy in Florida? The nightclub in Florida. Shot all those people, and next thing I know, my phone's ringing because they're all over his media. He killed himself, or cops killed him. I forget what it was. I forget who it was. And he had liked Extreme SEAL Experience. And all these reporters are calling me. Everybody's calling me, about him coming to my training course. And thankfully, he never did.
Thank God.
But it wouldn't have mattered. I mean, we're not going nuts like that. But that's just another knee-jerk reaction. Knee-jerk reaction.
Yes, that is my dog snoring.
Kind of crazy tactical stuff, anyhow. I think it was the Pulse thing. I freaked out. I was like, oh my God, we were checking all the student lists and everything else going, oh shit, man.
Call Brandy, ask Brandy.
It's one of the other things for ending a lot of that. We got out unscathed. That was an aggressive course, man. And outside of a couple of broken bones, I mean, nothing bad ever happened. So, but the potential total catastrophe was always there. That something could go, a helicopter crash, and that would have been it, because the media would have latched onto that like grim death. Anything SEAL related would just. So we got out.
Yep, we did. Shauna, I'm so sorry that your son had to go back to San Diego today. I hope that he gets to come back home for Christmas. Normally, I know everybody can hear him. This guy's got a subwoofer on it. It's coming through.
Warrior.
Look at that. Warrior,
Warrior,
quit snoring.
wake up, buddy.
But I remember how hard that is, and for me, we couldn't afford to do both. We could either afford to come back home for Thanksgiving or afford to come back home for Christmas. And when we were young, of course, we weren't eligible to be able to take off. I always had to stand the watches and shit on the holidays because I was a newbie. But I know what that feels like to have to kiss them and send them back off. So I'll be thinking about you, girl. Philadelphia.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. He was about a phony everything, but that's what they got him on. So it's just stolen valor laws. They're going to get him for that because they had so much other shit on him, claiming to be the prisoner of war, Navy SEAL guy. He duped the VA. I mean, that's what I keep telling people, how easy it is to fraud the VA. And it'll catch up to you. Those guys that are claiming that shit, it catches up to a lot of them real quick. So.
Chuck, what was that? The funny video where I had to pee? Oh, was that when we were shooting? He's bringing it up.
No, I don't know.
I think that's when we were deer hunting.
Oh, that spoof video, yeah.
Yeah.
That caught a lot of attention. Certainly caught Bernard's attention. So, this kid.
Well, I'm not going to bother him.
Well, he's blowing up subwoofers.
Well, he had 3 hamburgers tonight for his supper.
Yeah, he eats poorly around here.
So he's full.
I tried to get him in the wetsuit for his first hunt. God almighty, I thought I was going to strain myself trying to get that Velcro around him.
With normal Chesapeake Bay Retrievers, which is what just about everybody uses down here on the Eastern Shore, Chesapeake Bay Retrievers are compact. I mean, they're solid muscle, but they're not big this way. And so are labs. But he, being an English lab, I mean, I don't think that he's overweight. I don't think he's fat. He's just huge. And we've looked online. We've looked in the hunting shops around here. And the biggest thing that they have is an extra, extra large. And that shit won't go around him. I mean, it just will not go around him.
Yeah, big boy, we're alive. So, yeah, we're alive. It won't. It's tough. It's tough to get him in. I don't think he really likes it too much, but it serves a real purpose when he is swimming. So,
I just wanted to mention on here, I have signed several people up in the last just couple of days, and they have called me back and said that there's some kind of error and the little thing just keeps going around. And if I'm telling this correctly, Terry wrote up on another video at the top of the page, you've got support and you've got troubleshooting. And he said to click on one of those and just type anything in the description. You can even write shit in it. And then it will work. Terry, if I'm telling it wrong, explain it to him. But I see that I've got a couple of my new guys on here. And if that happens to you, I don't know what that is. But tell him what to do, Terry.
that's right.
You just wait a minute, boy.
You calm down there, buddy. You're just in a foul mood, too. It's been raining all day. No, he's fine. I get him in that doggone thing. And the troubleshooting, as Terry tells it, so many of the servers, so many new phones, so many new updates to phones, it's hard to keep up with it. And Terry really can't do anything about it until you tell him, hey, this new iPad XM550 isn't bringing up your videos, and then he can tell you why, because it's just not recognizing some of that shit. But
and there are people everywhere. I mean, right now, tonight, we've got somebody in New Hampshire. We've got somebody in Australia. What was the other person there? But my family's in Tennessee, and sometimes my family can pull it up, which seems strange. They can pull the videos up on their phones, but they can't get the videos to work on their iPads and stuff, which you'd think would be the opposite. So, I mean, we're out here in the middle of nowhere, and we have shit for service, and it's almost impossible to just make it perfect for everybody across the globe. But you tell Terry about it, and he'll get it fixed. He always does.
I think they ought to make that sheriff in Texas that screws around with the inmates all the time, paints their cells pink. He's a Arapaho or something. You got to make him head of the VA. They need a cop in the head of the VA. They need some ex-FBI dude or something. That's the problem with the VA. I wouldn't have that much of a problem if you guys would kick about half of the motherfuckers out of the VA system because they don't belong there. There's no getting through to them. They need somebody to go in there and just start fucking smacking heads together.
Hey, Soma, new guy. I'm glad everything's working good for you. I don't know where you're calling from. Oh, God, no. Terry and Greg are talking about vodka. No more vodka for Terry and Greg. No more.
No.
You're banned.
Nope. Damn, what else was that? You guys lost my track of thought. No, the VA's really needs some help.
So,
needs some help.
Is The Walking Dead over?
Arizona, that's right. That's who that dude is. It's just a funny thing. I think of that guy. I kind of like him, but he gets in a lot of trouble. Man. He probably wouldn't last very long being the secretary of the VA because that guy just says and does whatever the hell he feels like. That's why they have sheriffs.
So somebody tell me, is The Walking Dead on tonight, or was it already over last week? You fell asleep.
See ya, Donko. Say goodbye to Donko. He's got to leave early. Always one of our favorites on here.
Our favorite liberal Democrat right there. Bye,
No
Donko.
kidding. No kidding. See ya, bro. Trump pardoned Sheriff Joe also. Trump's just, there you go. Oh, man, I don't think. Yeah, that's not a bad suggestion, Bobby B. They need somebody that just isn't putting up with some of this stuff, man. I mean, we're in real trouble here, folks. We're in real trouble here with the VA. I'm not saying it's all bullshit, but there's so much of it. Now, this Agent Orange for guys on board ships is a real big deal. A real big deal. See, what you're doing is all you got to do is say, I was there, I did this, and now that, and it's just too easy to manipulate. I don't know what the fuck we're going to do with every sailor that ever served on a ship in Vietnam. I can tell you what, Dan Bernath would have been at the head of the line for that ship. Head of the line to get that Agent Orange and increase whatever the hell he's got. I think he maxed out anyhow.
Hey, so we don't have The Walking Dead tonight. What the hell are we going to do?
We're going to finish Valkyrie.
No, I've watched Valkyrie too many times.
It's a good movie. I watched Outlaw Josie Wales, all that shit, last night. So, yeah, it's funny properly. That whole VA thing, it gets overwhelmed. It just gets overwhelmed with shit. Too many bullshit claims from too many little whiny that want a handout. That's the problem with the veterans. If you guys don't remember, not too long ago, it was the director of the VA talking to a homeless guy in Los Angeles who told him he was a Special Forces Ranger guy or some shit. And the cameras were all over the dude when he was doing that, and they checked, and no, he wasn't any of that. So.
Well, people take advantage, ruin everything. And that's Don's big thing with PTSD. We absolutely know PTSD is real. We know people have it. It is a huge problem. But you got people claiming PTSD that never stepped behind a desk. They sat behind a desk and they got PTSD. And it's the same thing with the service dogs now. I read a big article yesterday, and there are so many guys that legitimately need those service dogs, and they are getting put through hell now trying to get those dogs on a plane and in restaurants and going into businesses. And it's because so many people with little yappy dogs have got these service dog vests that they can order right offline, and they actually are not even allowed to question you about it. And, it would be like me putting a service dog vest on Warrior or on, my littles. And so now they're really cracking down, and they're making it so impossible for veterans that really need those dogs. And it's just because people abuse that thing, and it sucks.
There's always somebody out there abusing them. What's the problem with the VA? The problem with the VA is veterans, unfortunately. So you'd be dangling stuff out there like that. And it's because I have a front row seat to this. I mean, I really see it with all these sealed claims and these verifications. I see some real stuff. And not all of it is wrong. I'm not even going to get on about Agent Orange for guys that served on board ships. But I tell you what, well, that's few and far between. I don't know. You want to talk about the wind blowing it offshore onto the guys on carriers changing out munitions is one thing. Guys that, I don't know, brown water Navy's another one there. It works. I get it. And now we're doing it for burn pit. I just got the word for that, burn pit. Anybody doesn't know what a burn pit is? It's burning trash. You're dumping shit and burning it. And I understand there's a lot of creosote on the ammo boxes and all that other stuff, but boy, when you do that, man, here they all come a-running. Never mind. Me, I'm pretty good to go.
Janice, I've never watched Outlander, but I've been hearing about it. Does that come on tonight? Because we need a show to watch. Don and I like to have something to look forward to. In the summertime, we don't watch any TV hardly at all. But in the wintertime, when it's dark at 5 o'clock, I hate to admit it, but that's sort of, there's not anything else to do. So we do like having our shows in the winter, and I don't know what Outlander's about, but just the title sounds like something Dawn would like.
I've been checking it out just a little bit.
Have you?
I can't follow it yet. I see it's something about old British stuff and modern British stuff. I couldn't quite follow it, but I've not got to the beginning, so I can't do that. Bam.
Pep.
There's somebody gonna get it. Brown Water Navy, yeah, you got all over that shit. I get it, bro. I'm talking about Brown Water Navy. I'm not talking about the guys that served in country. I'm talking about the guys on the USS Paint Me Daily that did 30 days worth of circles off the. You guys get me fucking fired up quick, man. Gosh, occasional fighting. There you go. Okay, what are we doing here? What the hell did I do with my damn glasses?
How would you know? Underneath all, oh God, don't put those on. Well, put those on. Let me see how stupid you look.
Right there.
Oh my. Oh God. Are those the ones I bought you?
I'm not bright enough to set decoys and shit, but they look cool.
Let me try them on. How do you turn them on?
I'm going to wear those up to the VA, or the VFW.
Oh gosh, they are pretty cool. Oh God.
They look cool too, man. Those are chick getters there. There's no...
Peak diver, I'm crippled from boondockers. I've not heard that word in a long time. Blairsy, I wish the Waltons was still on. We were talking about it the other night. All the good old shows. Bonanza, the Waltons. I loved all that shit.
Continuum.
Where's that?
Mad Dog, it's Continuum. I'll look that up when we get done here. I'll Google that word, whatever the hell that is. I guess what it is.
Where's that?
It's gone.
I see it.
Yeah,
Oh, it's awful to have to put on glasses to be able to see.
Crippled from the Boondockers. Yeah, and powdered milk. Crippled from powdered milk. I mean, what next?
Gunsmoke. What was her name? Miss Kitty.
I got on a thing the other night. We watched that Bohemian Rhapsody. And within the first couple of minutes, it had it in, what's his name?
Freddie
Mercury's home was a picture of Marlena Dietrich. And I was like, I'm getting her that for Christmas. I'm going to get her. And she's got that girl room in there. Those old 30s and 40s stars with the way they looked, and Marlene Dietrich was an absolute sex symbol hammer. But just if you search Marlene Dietrich, German descent, but she worked with the Americans. She just flipped off the Germans during World War II. She was not beloved over there. Oh my God, what a sultry thing!
I love those. I love those old pictures. When we built the cabin years ago, one of the first things I bought was an old picture of a Charles Bronson. I just loved that picture. Don couldn't get why I was buying it. It was a Western picture that he was in, so he had the hat on and everything. I thought it went good, really, really good.
John Wayne's girlfriend during World War II. I'm not surprised.
Actually, speaking of Bohemian Rhapsody, Don and I have not been in a movie theater in years. To be honest, I'm very uncomfortable. There's no lights in there. It's dark. There's been some bad shit go on. So I usually wait till it comes out so I can watch it at home. But that Bohemian Rhapsody is worth a look. I thought it was very interesting. I liked it. And everybody knows how Freddie Mercury's teeth were. You know, he was sort of known for his overbite, for his teeth. Something in the show, he actually had too many teeth in his mouth that made him like that. But whoever played that part, Don just kept talking about it. That guy was having a tough time talking with those prosthetics in his mouth. It was you could see him just
wasn't
doing
that
that.
noticeable unless you're just like me and you just see shit. But it seemed like he was, and I don't know if Freddie Mercury did that or not. And seeing an interview or anything with that guy, but that guy was. I kept saying, I don't think he's real comfortable in those teeth. Perhaps they should have put him in him like about 3 weeks before shooting began and made him wear them for like 3 weeks or something. But that was a good movie. Real good movie.
So Terry says he reset the video. What's wrong with the video?
He did. Terry's on board, man. Terry's on board. It's a secret between me and him. And my grandfather used to love Hogan's Heroes. Who couldn't love it? Cub Warrior. He's gone. What do you think, Chick?
I think
you
so.
Gonna go do something here?
Yep.
Let's,
I'm going to go in there and pull up that Highlander thing and see what that is. Outlander.
Highlanders.
Well, that's what Jim was talking about. He was talking about Highlander.
Oh, that was one of his movies. Or that was in. I was like, we were watching Bohemian Rhapsody. I said, where in the hell's that song from? I know that song. I know that song.
That
was the...
We used to watch the Highlander.
Well, it was the movie, The Highlander.
Yeah.
Where she's growing old and he's staying young. It's that song that played through there. And I was like, I didn't know Queen wrote that song.
Yeah, extra bicuspids. That's what he said.
Extra bicuspids.
Trucker Dean will be seeing you before too long. I'm excited for you to come down.
Yeah, we got quite the lineup. And Dan Prigge is twice wounded. And he couldn't make the Grand National. He hit a deer and went back to the hospital. He's had brain surgery and everything, but he's out of it. He says, I'll be ready to go by the 19th. So he's coming down here on the 19th. And a good lineup. And he got his ass handed to him the first time, but the second time he really got his ass handed to him. So
I'm excited for him to come. Chuck, I watched the National Dog Show on Thanksgiving. I don't know if this is a different one, but it was really good on Thanksgiving Day, and the English Bulldog took the championship. And he was just as fat as mud, cute as he could be.
there you go.
But, all right, I'm going to hold this up again. Everybody wish my boys and girls, Garrett and Bethany, happy marriage, guys. Have fun tonight. Don't be rocking and rolling that cabin too hard.
we got to put Warrior to bed. He's going nuts in there.
You get his legs, I'll get his front
I have
ones.
to go out and get on the four-wheeler real quick. Getting a lot of use out of that four-wheeler, Trucker Dean.
Thanks, Sarge. You have a good night, too. Goodbye, everybody.